Hey everyone, this is Ryan from Cardinal Health Site in Mansfield, Massachusetts. For this morning, we're going to be doing a recording for this session. So, as you can see in the background here, I do have a desk. We're going to be using that for one or two exercises as well as a chair. So, feel free to get yourself comfortable. Remember, it's a recording, so if you need to get close to either of these things, go ahead and hit that pause button, and once you have everything set up, we'll get started. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on our forearms. So what I want to do first is we're going to focus on the front side here. The way we're going to do that is have one palm out in front. We're going to take the fingers here and we're going to give them a slight tug towards the torso. So we're going to pull them towards us and we're going to hold that position for 30 seconds. So right now I'm already feeling quite the stretch here in my forearm. And once we finish 30 seconds of this, we'll switch to the other side. 10 more seconds. Deep breathing. Make sure you're dropping that shoulder. You don't want to shrug during this time. 3, 2, 1. Release. And let's move on to the other arm now. So same thing. You want that palm out in front. Grab by the fingers. Make sure that arm is nice and straight. And you'll give it a little tug towards you. So you should be sitting upright at this time. Feel free to take deep breaths. And remember, you want to drop that shoulder. Make sure it doesn't shrug during this time. So once we finish up with this, we're going to focus on the other side of our forearm. This one's going to be a little bit less tugging. 3, 2, 1. And release and shake it out. All right, so next up, now we want the palm facing us. So, arm out in front like so. You're going to grab those fingers, but there's no tugging. We're just going to simply let the hand drop. A little dead weight here. So, again, no tugging. Just let it hang. And what we're doing here is we're stretching out the, not so strong parts of the forearm here. This is somewhat sensitive for a lot of people, and tugging can actually damage that part of our forearm. So we want to keep that nice and steady here, just letting it drop. Excellent. All right, and let's do the same thing on the other side. So grabbing those fingers, palm is facing you, grab right here and simply let it drop. Again, no tugging here. If you do give it a little tug, you'll feel a discomfort right here in the wrist. So again, you want to avoid that as much as possible. Make sure that you're dropping your shoulders. And then after this, we'll do a little stretch for our legs. Nearly done here. We're getting about 5 more seconds. Ready? 3, 2, and 1. All right. Shaking that out. I'm going to move my chair to the side now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lean against the wall here, grabbing my knee, pulling it up towards my chest. And what I want to do is rotate my ankle. 15 seconds, one rotation. So right now I'm going counterclockwise. 3, 2, 1, and let's rotate the other way now. So a little stretch in the glute this way, as well as getting a little blood flow in for the ankles. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. All right, so we're going to switch to the other side now. Again, feel free to lean back against the wall if you can. Does help with balance that way. Pulling your knee in, and let's rotate one way. Right now I'm going clockwise. So you can follow me if you'd like. Doesn't matter if you follow me or not, so long as we switch when we're halfway, which is going to happen in 3, 2, 1. Let's rotate the other way. Big rotations with your big toe. Make the biggest circle possible using your big toe. Remember, tugging at the knee, bringing it into your chest. 3, 2, and 1. Very good. All right, next up, we're actually going to use the desk for this one. We're going to work our chest and the front of our shoulders. So take your hands, interlace your fingers, and what I want to do here is go right onto the desk with my hands, and I'm going into a lunge position, and I'm going to bring my hips forward. So what we're doing here is we're going to be working our chest and our hip flexors at the same time. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper into my lunge, bringing the hips forward, and that's seriously giving me a good stretch in my chest. And bring it up. So there's a lot more demonstration on this one, so if you need to pause the video so you can get into a more comfortable position, you can do that. All right, so I just switched legs, and now I'm going to go down into a lunge. Make sure my hands are comfortable, and I'm going to bring my hips forward as much as I can so that I can stretch out my hips. Or a little bit lower if you can to really stretch out your shoulders and your chest. Looking at the time, we got about 7 seconds left. This is a tough one, especially because I'm hovering just over the floor with my back leg. 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. All right, standing up. Next up, we're going to be working on the lats. So with this one, I'm actually going to sit down. I'm going to bring my arms up, take one hand, and bring it to one side. Now I got my hand around my wrist here, and I'm giving that wrist a little bit of a tug so I can stretch right here. For me, this is a pretty tight area. It's very, very tight, so I want to make sure that I get this kind of stretch in as much as possible. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Let's move on to the other side now. Ready? Lean, grab that wrist if you can, and give it a good tug. 30 seconds starting now. So I'm not just leaning to the side here, I also want to make sure that my core and my lower back are nice and tight. Keeping that tight is going to make this stretch, especially with the tug, much more effective that way. We're going to have some resistance down here so that when we pull, we're going to have more of a stretch that way. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Bring it center. Arms down. Excellent. All right, so now I want to focus a little bit on the neck. So I'm going to come forward. The first thing I want to do is drop my head, and I'm going to rotate one side, bring it down, and rotate to the other side. So here's my pace for the next 30 seconds. Feel free to go a little bit slower if you need to. Get a really good stretch, especially on the side here. And let's do one more rotation. Excellent. Now, we're actually going to repeat something like that again, but this time we're going to go all the way around. If going behind is too painful for you, I simply want you to rotate side to side once more, all right? So with me, I'm going to go full circle here till I come center, and I'm going to rotate the other way. Excellent. Just like that. Again, I'm going at my pace here. If you want to go a little bit slower or faster, I will leave that up to you. We have just enough time for one more. Let's do that. And excellent. Looking straight ahead. Okay, now let's focus a little on the shoulders. So with this one, take one arm, bring it to the side, and I want you to grab just behind the elbow and tug it in. Dropping that shoulder. Now I'm feeling this specifically in the back side of my shoulder right here. It's not all the way here, it's just in the back side. So that's my main focus. We got about 10 more seconds with this side. Pulling it in as much as you can, keeping your core nice and tight. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. All right, bring that arm out, and let's switch to the other arm now. So I like to make sure I have a thumb up during this time. Bring it to the side, grabbing that muscle just before the elbow, and tug it in. You can hold this position and take deep breaths while you do this. Dropping that shoulder, number one thing here, focusing on the back side of the shoulder. We got about 5 more seconds here. One more deep breath. Excellent. All right, we got a couple more, I believe. Yep, just enough time for one more. So let's do that right now. So I'm going to stand up for this one. And I'm going to take my arms. I'm going to rise my arms up. I'm not all on camera here, so let me tell you exactly what I'm doing. My heels are coming off the floor. My arms are reaching up for the ceiling. And I'm acting like I want to stretch myself out to be about 6 inches taller. 10 more seconds here. You're going to feel the stretch in the arms, the legs, and a little bit in the torso on the sides here. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Bring it down nice and slow. Shaking out the arms and shaking out the legs. And that is it for today's session. So thank you all for joining me for this recording. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to email me at ryan.bowen@cardinalhealth.com. That's my email. Otherwise, have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll see you next time. Take care.